Hi, my name is Celicia McLean. At the time of studying abroad, I was a zoology major. I had studied abroad through the CSU IP program to South Korea, and I attended because it was a year-long program to a country that I really had a lot of interest in, and I was so set, so ready to go.
Um, Hi, my name is Julissa Gomez. My major is Child Development and Asian Studies, and then the program that I attended was USAC, Chengdu, China.
Hello, my name is Valeria Salas. I am an international studies major with a concentration in Chinese studies. The program I attended was through USAC and it was Chengdu, China in fall 2017. The reason why I chose this program was because of its accessibility and it would help in my major, especially when it comes to the language. I wanted to strengthen that and I just really wanted to go somewhere in Asia.
So applying for this program was very accessible for me. CSUIP did a wonderful job being very direct, being very upfront about all the steps that it would take to apply, all of the requirements, criteria that I needed to meet, budgets, anything like that. They were all very clear about. The only challenge that the sort of roadblock that I hit when applying was after I was accepted and I needed to start paying for it. I was not aware that I would have to be paying for so much upfront, and that became a little bit of a challenge for me. But the overall application process went by very smoothly.
I would say this program was accessible. I did face challenges and I did struggle mainly because of the application process. This was my first time studying abroad, so I didn't really know anyone or could rely on someone's help because I wasn't aware if people had attended this program before. Most of my communication was with the administration in the USAC program. Although communication was rough at times, they walked me through it step by step and were very patient with me, so I'm very grateful for that.
I definitely did my homework when it came to researching and having information about the country that I was going to study abroad in. I kind of did the opposite of what a lot of many other students may have done. I was just so gun ho, so enthusiastic, so passionate about South Korea that I was going to make sure that I was able to experience some block of time there. So I was filled. I had a ton of information about South Korea, and I chose a program that would help get me there.
I do feel that there was enough information about the country that I was visiting just because of this wonderful thing called Google and like the internet. Chengdu is actually really well known for like its pandas and everything like that. I feel like I could really gone into the culture. I could have done so much more research on like where it's located, like the demographic of those things. But I will say there was a lot of information for the country in general. I will say though that I would have to be like careful like what information I am looking at just because like based on where you go, like certain websites, it could be biased. When talking to some people, they might have a biased view. Like for instance, it's like even mentioning like China. It's like what? Why would you want to go to China? Like what is this foreign place that has communism? Like so probably would have had to be like really careful and like who I would ask for advice and everything like that.
Through school wise, I didn't think I had a lot of information. I feel that schools should provide information like experience or personal accounts, especially with students who are going abroad for the first time. I did most of the research on my own through the internet, Googling things, and through what USAC provided. Also, since this is my major and this was a country I was really interested in, I felt like I did the research necessary to be able to survive in the country.
My experience in South Korea as a person of color was neither super fantastic nor was it, disastrous and unimaginable. It was kind of just, one of the talking points that we would make when meeting new people would always ask me what was my ethnicity. I got all over the map. People mistook me for Indian, people mistook me for South American, people mistook me for everything but what I am. And the last thing people would expect is for me to be of a mixed lineage. Most of the comments that people would make about my appearance or my ethnicity when I was studying abroad were positive. It was a new experience for them. It was something they were just curious about. They just wanted more information. They just wanted to know. The only bad experience that I have, there's only one experience that still lingers in the depths of my heart, is one of my roommate's friends was curious about my lineage and my ethnicity, and she asked to see photos of my family, which I obliged. She saw my older sister, and we both have the same parents, but she has a totally different complexion, different hair texture than I do. And my sister's much, much fairer than I am. And she directly to my face told me that my sister is prettier than me because she is lighter skinned. And that hurt. That definitely did hurt.
I would say my experience, it was everything everyone would ever say. It was beautiful. It was nerve wracking. I resisted. Um, the culture sometimes, well, the language mainly, because I was like, very frustrated with learning Chinese. It's very tough. So I was in an intensive language program, and I was like, oh my god, it's like so much information. I'd be like, I could say this in Spanish, or I know how to say this in English, but it's very difficult, And then I had to constantly remind myself, like, oh hey, this is the new language. Like you're literally learning. Apparently, I learned like 2 years of Chinese, apparently, and like 4 months. That's very intensive. So I had to think about that. I think just being comfortable with being uncomfortable mainly with my Chinese and how bad it really was. My Chinese is so bad. The experience in general was like beautiful though. Like I honestly loved it. The program director, she was awesome. Shout out to Wen Tao. Wen Tao was like an amazing person. Zhao Jing, he was an amazing person. The people I met there, they're amazing. I think one challenge was just being like open to different people, different experiences. So like you feel like you know them, but you don't know them because it's only been like a week or it's been like 2 weeks, and you're like, I know everything. Like look at all this drama. Um, but I think kind of like that was really interesting, just seeing like how close you got with everyone. Like, but again, as a whole, I loved it. I say I want to go back every single time. The time I spent with these people were very short, which is really sad because I was only there for 4 months. Um, but I feel like I've known them for like a really long time. Honestly, this program had so much positive energy. There was some drama, but it was like really petty drama, which was like hilarious when I think about it. And I was like, what the heck? But it was really positive energy. The directors, they have so much passion.
So, my experience in Chengdu, I just want to say that I love the program. I love the participants. I love the locals there. They were all inclusive. They were very accommodating to foreigners, which is something that you don't see here in the States in regards to us with other foreigners. So, that was really nice. I did have a mixture of both positive and negative experiences, but overall, it was just a great time. I enjoyed being in that environment, experiencing new things, learning about other cultures with participants who were on the same boat as me, not knowing much or not experiencing much about, outside of the US. So we grew together in that sense. That being said, I wanted to dive into a personal experience where I was shook in a sense and also solidified me as a foreigner in China and where I stood. So I went out with three other of my friends, two who were male Caucasians and a fellow woman of color. And we had gone out to eat and it was raining at the time, so we were trying to hail a cab. And since China is very populated, it was hard to get a taxi. But when we finally did, we were blessed with a very nice taxi driver who was very friendly and tried to have conversation with us. And we encouraged him to speak English because he was really passionate in trying to learn the language. Given my shy personality, I sat in the back, whereas I told my friend to sit in the front. And let's just say his name is Tyler. During our ride, the taxi driver had asked us questions like, "Where are we from? What are we doing in China? Like, how is our Chinese level? Like, can we speak English?" You know, the general and basic questions. At the time, my friend's Mandarin level was really low, so he would turn to me and he would say, "Valeria, how would you answer this?" Or "How would you respond?" And so I would personally respond to the taxi driver, or I would feed my friend the answers. And when I would respond to the driver, he would dismiss me and would prefer to listen to my friend's response rather than mine. And this went on for the whole ride, where I tried to put my input, but the taxi driver just didn't really want to listen to my answers. So I just let it go. It wasn't until the end of the drive where he dropped us off and he finally addressed the back passengers and asked me, "So, where are you from?" And I told him, "I'm American." And he was very confused. He stared at me. He looked at my complexion. I'm pretty sure he didn't believe me. And it was true. He said, "No, you're not American. Where are you really from?" I tried to tell him, "Yes, I am from America," but he didn't believe me. So at this point, I didn't really want to cause any disruptance, or I didn't really want to show him that, I feel invalidated. So I gave up after the third time he asked me, and I said, "Well, I'm not American. I'm actually Mexican." After I responded that way, the taxi driver felt a little bit more satisfied with my answer, and he was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I do see that you're Mexican. I thought you were Indian." And this wasn't the first time where people, or the local, denied my Americanism in a sense. I often got that I looked Indian or that I looked Tibetan, but I was never considered American. I wouldn't say that these experiences hurt my feelings, but it kind of gave me a sense of invalidating my identity. Although I don't fit that blonde, blue eyed, white complexion stereotype, I am American. It's just my lineage didn't allow me to have these American features. But aside from all this mistaken identity, I did have such a pleasant experience in China. The locals, like I've mentioned before, are very inclusive to foreigners, and it's something that we don't see here in America. Also, Chengdu is a very fast growing city. It's home of the panda. The transportation system is growing every day, so Chengdu is becoming more and more accessible. Chengdu is also very diverse. It's not only Han Chinese, there are a lot of minorities, especially Tibetan. Overall, my experience in Chengdu was amazing. I would love to go back. The family that I made, the friends that I made, the connections, it was all worth it. Yes, I did have my struggles and I did have my challenges, but the experience there was amazing. I would overlook it in a heartbeat. And in experiences like this, it gave me an opportunity to educate the locals, especially like university students. It gave me an opportunity to tell them, like, yeah, I am American, but my parents are Mexican. This is why I look this way, and this is why I sound this way, and I speak this language. So, out of these negative experiences, I had the opportunity to share my lineage and my history and my story, and to educate my friends and tell them, like, America isn't this homogenous place. We're a diverse people. So I really enjoyed these negative experiences along with all these positive experiences. Chengdu was amazing, and I would love to go back.
Fortunately, in my case, when I studied abroad in South Korea, I had already been super invested in going abroad in Korea to teach. So I was already in an online group that is based for people of my heritage who are living in South Korea. And in that group, they openly discussed their experiences and any fun things about the country, any support that can be offered for people of our backgrounds in that foreign country. It's a wonderful opportunity to let your experiences be known, and also learn from other people's experiences as well. So I'm super thankful that I had that opportunity from the get-go in my journey. So I was quite prepared for what I would encounter when I went there.
I would say, yeah, I think it's actually really important, especially if you go to like Asian countries, because I always say like it's very homogeneous. A high percentage of the people, they all look like each other. So then you have someone else, and then like they totally look different, and also the person of color, different culture as well. So there might be some negative interaction. So like a place for people of color, like basically like a place where they can feel more comfortable, which I feel like the USAC program in Chengdu did have. Like they had the office. The office, you could go in there, you can like say they had a couch, and you could just sit there and you could just like talk about anything you wanted to. Like the director itself, Wen Tao, he was very open. One time my friend was saying how Wen Tao said, Jim, that's not his name. Like, Jim, you can be whatever you want to be. You can be you can like identify as whatever you want. And it was like, so she was like aware of like there's people who identify as like male, female. They may have like different sexual orientation and all those things. So I think for that program specifically, we did have a space, but I feel like it is important to have a space for people of color, and also for people of color who may have a different sexual orientation from the typical norm, because I know that could be even more difficult. So I would say, yeah, I think so. And also, just related to mental health, I feel like there should be also a space for mental health. I know that for our program, which was really cool because someone actually went through a struggle with that, but he actually made a group while we were like abroad, and it was called Mentality Saturdays, and now that's the time for us to talk about like what is mental health, what are all these things. It really helped just having a time just to reflect and just talk about like all struggles as one, college students while abroad, and kind of like things that we're facing. So I would say, yeah, I think it's really good to have basically things related to mental health while in the program, because I think we forget that. I know that they have those in the brochures like, oh, don't forget like your mental health too, but like people just came over those. So I think it's like really important just to like discuss it. And I know that towards the end, the director went out. He was like, "Oh, I really like that. Like, I really want to implement this more, because like through those meetings that we had for the whole mental health, we actually got to know each other like better. I feel, because it was sometimes people get like on very first surface level, and for those mentality Saturdays, we went past surface level. We dug in deep, which I think is really good. So I really appreciated that, and I know some people in the program, they also really appreciated it too.
Personally, I do believe that there should be safe spaces for POC students, especially if they're studying abroad in non-Western countries like China or South Korea. Coming from a Hispanic household, there are very many stereotypes against Asian countries, especially in my family. They're very closed-minded, and they stray away from cultures that aren't similar to ours. So there are many misconceptions about this country. So I didn't have that sense of security with my family and talking about my adventures and study abroad, mainly because they didn't understand the place that I was coming from. So I feel like it is very important to have safe spaces for POC students, especially when they don't have that communication with their family. You're away from home for a long time. You have really no one to talk to, especially in China. Social media is blocked unless you have a VPN. So it's really hard to stay in communication with friends back home and family back home. So having a place where you can feel safe and you can talk about what's going on in China or what's going on within your USAC group, I feel like it's very beneficial for your mental health. Culture shock and homesickness, that's a really big thing. So having a place to talk about how you're feeling can really benefit you with your mental health. Depression does come easily if you're not used to a different environment. Also, for students of color who experience these negative comments, especially in regards to your identity. Having a safe space to talk about all of this and to just unload is very beneficial for your mental health. So yes, I believe it is very important to have a safe space or some sort of support group. I know in my program, one of the participants was feeling very overwhelmed, and so she had started this session called Mentality Saturdays. And in these sessions, we would just unload in a very healthy, open minded, and safe way. And we would just talk about everything and anything in regards to being abroad, to troubles back home, to personality, identity. And that really helped unload a lot of the stress from being abroad and from missing home, or from just, these negative experiences with identity. For future POC students, I really wish they had this safe environment in order to just communicate and openly talk, and, just for them to get help in regards to their mental health. So yes, safe spaces are very, very important.
Well, the typical thing. I wish I was told, like, do your research, which they told me. Something I wish because I literally am right now, like, telling someone my own experiences. I'm telling all this information. I think one thing would just be, like, excuse my language, just fuck it, like, fuck it and just do a fucking year and do all that stuff. Like, just do a year. It's gonna be amazing. Just go for it. Don't feel limited and what other people think, definitely. I think I have to remind myself that. Um, I think people tell this too, that the reverse culture shock will be really intense, and it is really intense because, like, you miss it. Like, I literally just messaged one of my friends who is in Chengdu right now, and I'm so jealous of her, and it literally hurts my heart, like, how much I miss that place. And then I think people do tell you, they're like, you're gonna miss it, and you don't understand how much you're gonna miss it. So perhaps that, like, just to know, like, how much you truly miss it. Do know a little bit of Chinese, know how to see how much your numbers. Definitely say, where is the bathroom? Do you have a bathroom? And water. I would say those are, like, the essentials. So something I wish I knew. I think it would just be that, honestly. Everything else, surprises are amazing. I feel like if you have expectations, that definitely would diminish the whole experience. I had no expectations. I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. I was like, here I go. I'm here. But yeah.
I wish I was told about the spicy food. I know the Sichuan province is known for the spicy food, but I didn't know it was tongue-numbing spicy. Literally, one bite, my nose started running. Like, I got tears in my eyes. I was like, I cannot eat like this every day. So pack some Pepto. Be prepared to drink a lot of milk to neutralize the spiciness. Also, the weather there, it's very humid, very hot, especially during the summertime. So be prepared for that thick humidity. You can feel it. And the winters are cold, so it's a cold winter. So you can also feel that through layers and layers of clothes. Another thing I would have loved to have been told is to always carry around tissue paper, especially in Chengdu, especially when you're out in public. There are public restrooms, but they're squatty potties, so you have to squat. It's not a Western toilet. Also, there's hardly ever any toilet paper, so it's good to carry around tissues or a roll of toilet paper. I know I did. And the last thing I wish I was told is that you get really close, really quick to the people that you're with and you're surrounded with, because you grow together, you experience these new things together, and so, that creates a close, tight bond.
If I were to answer any question regarding my favorite experiences that I had while studying abroad in South Korea, it would have to be the people that I met. But interestingly enough, it wouldn't be the Koreans that I met in South Korea. It was the other foreign students who came through exchange the same way I did, who also have a passion for South Korea, who were there learning the language, learning about the culture the same way I was. I was just able to relate to them so well, and we all just became so close. And even though we haven't met each other in like 5 years, I think it's been since I studied abroad, we still contact each other multiple times a month. We make sure that we still video chat. We are still like the most best friends in the world, even though at the moment we're halfway across the world. I just made like more than friends, I made family members when I went to study abroad. And that has to be the greatest experience that I could have ever asked for.
While studying abroad, one is honestly just making the family that I did make. Such a connection, honestly, is what we made. I remember that when Tell once said, like, y'all gonna be family, and at the end of this program, y'all gonna be crying. And I was like, who is the one telling me that I'm gonna be crying at the end of this program? I'm gonna miss these people. I don't know these people. What? I think Chengdu is a place, honestly. Like, if you want to make some close homies, like, go to Chengdu because one, y'all gonna struggle together. Y'all gonna struggle like in your Chinese. If you're like beginner Chinese, y'all gonna struggle. Um, the long hours, the food, the culture shock, everything. Honestly, I just enjoyed. My favorite part was just being with people that I could just laugh with and really be real, like, and making friends unexpectedly. There you go. Those are the words. Um, that's because I didn't expect to make such good friends. I didn't expect to make a friend by them being acquainted with someone else. So it's just those little things. Um, but yeah, those are definitely my favorite moments. And again, I think another thing too that I really appreciate from this program is that I can have a place I call home. I can call Chengdu like a home. I I personally, I can definitely call Chengdu home. I sometimes is worried I'm gonna go back to Chengdu and be like, do I remembered? Like, what is happening? That's a fear I have, but like, if I were to go back to China, which I really hope I do, um, I just have to remember that you're in a different place, a different mindset, and everything like that. But yeah, so those are basically, at least in my experience, I feel my experience is very positive. And yeah, it was just amazing, honestly. I I loved it. I don't know what else to say, but it was great. It was great, and I love Chengdu.
Encouragement for students of color. Don't feel like you're withdrawn. Don't feel like you're being held back because of financial issues or home issues or, just anything. Don't feel held back. There are many solutions to whatever your worries are. In terms of financial, I know there's a lot of financial aid and I know there's a lot of scholarships. You just really need to do your research. I really encourage students of color to study abroad. It's not inaccessible. It is very accessible. Anyone can do it at any time of their life, regardless of their major, regardless of their identity, their background. Anyone can study abroad. Also, I just want to encourage people to do their research on the country before they go. Being surrounded by a diverse group of people, it kind of sucks hearing ignorant comments, especially about a beautiful country that's historically rich. I did have some issues within the group making ignorant comments about the food, about the people, and, it kind of puts things in perspective. Like, why are you here if, you're being very ignorant about a lot of things? Or why did you choose this program if you knew the environment was going to be this way? So, just I encourage everyone to do their research before they actually sign up into a program that they weren't prepared to fully immerse themselves in. Lastly, I just really encourage everyone to take the opportunity to study abroad and just take a chance. This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity, especially now that you're young and you're in college and you have all these available resources to help you study abroad. So just take the chance. And if traveling is a passion, go ahead, study abroad. You're not going to regret it. You're going to make so many connections. And it's honestly one of the best experiences of my life. So I encourage everyone to study abroad.